Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to explain how the procurement rules application works. To start with, I'll go to the procurement module and look up the available applications. From here, I'll open procurement rules. This application is used to define how different types of items are procured in the system, whether it's a specific item, a group of items, or an entire category of materials. In this example, I already have a rule created called tools and spares. Let's take a look at how this rule is configured. The rule ID is automatically generated by the system and a rule name is provided. Next, we have the requirement source. This tells the system where the demand for items under this rule will come from. It can be on demand, reorder level based, or MRP driven. Here I've selected on demand, which means items under this rule are purchased only when there is an actual requirement. A different rule can follow a completely different policy, depending on the type of items. After that, we have purchase planning, which can be either restricted or open. This setting decides who can create purchase requisitions for items under this rule. These rules are mapped to items in the items management application, so once an item is assigned to this rule, all these settings automatically apply. If purchase planning is restricted, only nominated users can raise purchase requisitions. If it's open, anyone can raise a requisition. It's important to understand that a procurement rule is not just a name. It represents a group of similar items that follow the same procurement behavior and are usually supplied by the same set of vendors. For example, lubricants and greases can be grouped under a separate rule because they come from similar suppliers. Based on this logic, access and responsibility can be controlled. Here, it's kept restricted so that only the SBOS demo user can raise purchase requisitions. Next, I define the lead buyer. This is the person responsible for procuring all items under this rule. For this demo, I'm using the same user so the flow remains simple and continuous. Then we have the PO processing time. This is the internal time required to process a purchase requisition and convert it into a purchase order. It includes activities like reviewing the requirement, identifying the vendor, and placing the order. This could be 7 days, 15 days, or any duration that matches the procurement process for this category. In the procurement method section, I choose how procurement should happen. This could be RFQ based, frame contract based, preferred vendor auto selection, or ad hoc purchase. A frame contract means there is already an agreement with the vendor, so there's no need to go through the RFQ process. With RFQ based procurement, inquiries are sent to vendors, quotations are evaluated, and then the vendor is finalized. In this example, I'm using the RFQ based method. The frequency setting becomes relevant when reorder level or planned procurement is used, as it defines how often procurement is initiated. A preferred vendor can also be selected from the approved list to give priority during sourcing. Next, I define the lead time and the criticality level of these items. Criticality can be set as low, medium, or high, depending on how important the items are. There's also a remarks field where additional details about the rule can be added, but I'll leave it blank for now. After that, I configure the approved vendors for this procurement rule. In this example, I've selected 4 vendors and defined their preference order, delivery ratings, quality ratings, commercial viability scores, and lead times. More vendors can be added if needed. This setup clearly shows that a procurement rule acts as a governance structure for a specific category of items, like tools and spares, lubricants, steel materials, aluminum materials, or consumables, each managed with its own set of suppliers. Next is vendor qualification and compliance requirements. Clicking on Edit shows how this section is configured. In the requirement type field, the compliance checks required for vendors under this rule are defined. These can include document verification, performance audits, or other compliance requirements. When document verification is selected, the document type section allows marking which documents need to be verified, such as quality certificates, tax status, and legal or regulatory compliance documents. For each document, the assessment can be set as one-time, recurring, or not applicable. Based on this selection, the frequency can be defined yearly, monthly, or quarterly. One-time checks are typically performed during vendor onboarding, while recurring checks help ensure ongoing compliance. A responsible user can also be assigned to manage these checks, and the system automatically sends alerts when verifications are due. In the same way, performance audits can be configured, either annually or at other regular intervals. This is how multiple vendor qualification and compliance requirements can be set up based on the needs of the procurement rule. Finally, in the items management application, all related items, whether there are a few or several hundred, are assigned to this procurement rule. Once this mapping is done, the system automatically applies all the defined rules and manages the entire procurement process. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.